Just look at that. Look at that. That is just insane. That is so insane. Really crazy. Hello reformers and welcome back to Warsword Conquest. Now what we have here is a battle between one of our vassals. They finally started coming out of the woodwork here, and I actually made Lord Skeezel a vassal. He is our most recent one, and he is currently embroiled in a battle with Emmanuel, so we are going to be doing something about that and helping him out a little bit, so let's do that. Now, of course, I've been sending out Nagrat. I've been sending out Nagrat to nag everyone in sight, and well, he's actually doing a really good job. He's doing a really good job, and he has returned with, I believe, 3 different peace agreements, and that means we are no longer at war against the orcs. The vampires actually declared peace with us without me having to do anything, and I think we're also at peace with Kislev. And we are also, I think, in the process of gaining peace with Britannia, I think. So that is going to be pretty good for us, because that means that I will no longer have all my villages be raided consistently, and that will then mean that we will obviously gain a lot more money, and it's already starting to pay off. Because in my last weekly wages, I was able to get a minor loss of about 2,000. And I know, you know, usually, oh no, that's not very good, you know, getting a loss is not good at all, obviously, but eventually, you know, it's showing a nice upturn, and it's going to be pretty good for us eventually, as long as we can continue doing what we're doing, and hopefully then getting some profits coming in, because it's been pretty difficult to stay afloat, basically, with the way that we've currently done things, and obviously we're at war against so many different people that it's just insanely difficult to just keep up with the amount of wages that I'm gonna have to, you know, deal with here. But yeah, it's really nice that we're actually starting to get back on our feet and stable in an economic sense. We've been pretty stable from a, well, are you going to be eliminated very, very soon in the next attack kind of way? You know, that's gone pretty well. Amazingly enough, because at the very beginning of us creating our faction, it did not look good whatsoever. It looked like we were going to be eliminated in a matter of days, because any moment, one of the factions could have turned up with, I don't know, over 1,000 units, over 1,500 units, something like that, and then we just weren't prepared. We wouldn't be prepared for that. It would just be so difficult to defend against that. It would just be impossible. So very pleased that we were able to do that. And wow, there's actually a lot of very, very good enemy units here, and we are having some problems. We are certainly having some problems with them. Kind of surprised, really. Where are all my... yeah, it seems like my Warplock engineers are kind of doing a bit of a weird thing right now. Yeah, they seem to have run away. Okay, you know what? We're gonna just retreat real quick, and then we're gonna head back in. Well, from my perspective, it looks as though the opponent has kind of given up. They don't seem to be wanting to charge at us whatsoever, and they're not doing much of anything, actually. Kind of surprised about that. Usually, if an opponent gets to this point, they're just going to charge straight at us and try and do as much damage as possible, but it appears as though they are... well, they've just signed out. They've basically just signed out, and you can see here that we're about to achieve a victory against them, and that will then mean that maybe we will be able to take one of the Empire's towns, because I've actually been attempting to do a little bit of scouting, a little bit of, you know, everything really, because that's exactly what I wanted to do for this episode. Try and take a town of some kind. I would very much like to take Nuln, if at all possible, because I personally feel like that is the natural progression of things in attempting to, you know, solidify our territory even further. And obviously, we do need to... oh yeah, by the way, my War Academy. My War Academy is now done in terms of its construction, so we are going to need to take a look at that as well, because I think that's going to be really, really fun to use. And hopefully I'm not going to die here. I would very much like to stay alive, if at all possible. And, wow, these guys with their mounts, they're pretty strong. Demigryph Knights, yes, that's exactly Yes, that's exactly the kind of unit that we do not want to attack us, thank you very much. And yeah, otherwise, once the War Academy is, well, it's obviously done, but once we get over there, we will take a look and see what kinds of units it is going to be training. And it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's Rat Ogres. I think you can get Rat Ogres from there. And I don't exactly know what else. I think just Rat Ogres. I think that's the unique unit that Skaven culture gets. We're just going to auto-resolve here to kill the last unit, and we're going to get a little bit of relation with Lord Skeezel. She manages to escape, which I don't really mind about, and I guess I am going to be taking a couple of people here because, well, it's always good to take some for garrison purposes, and otherwise I think we're pretty good. Alright, so I have made my way over to the town and we are going to be taking it, or at least I am hopeful that we will be able to take it. Obviously, as I've said, personally I feel like this layout is kind of difficult. It really depends. I mean, obviously if our Poisoned Wind Globadiers can kind of get a good kind of vantage point, good line of sight on the opponent, then I think it should be okay, but in general it does tend to be kind of an annoying town to take, really, and we're just going to do a little bit better here, or at least we're going to try to do a little bit better. And you can see here that our Globadiers are doing a fantastic job, but obviously they're not going to do that much because they do have limited ammo, and they're obviously not as persistent as the engineers and things like that. So yeah, if I can just maybe do some damage myself, that's obviously going to be a pretty big deal. If at all possible. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Poison Wind Globadier actually helping me out there a little bit. Pretty nice. And I'm dead, because the Demon Slayer. The Demon Slayer came out, but the Infernos and the Engineers and all the wonderful units that we have are doing a very nice job indeed. And I'm pretty happy, actually, with our thematic army at the moment, because obviously I could use all kinds of units. You know, I could use I don't know, I could use some Araby units, High Elf units, Dark Elf units. I feel like the Dark Elf units are really, really fun to use, especially with their barrages of crossbow bolts and things like that, and yeah, all that stuff. But personally, I don't feel like that's too thematic. I mean, yeah, Dark Elves, I think that's fine, but using any other units apart from these and maybe Dark Elves as well, probably not going to suit our theme for the moment. But otherwise, I think we're going to be in for a bit of a slog here, but I think it will be okay eventually. Alright, so once again we were chased off from the town by a very large contingent of vassals, and I'm talking about, like, I don't know, over 800 units, and I didn't really want to fight all of those right now, considering we don't necessarily have the greatest amount of Poison Wind Globadiers. Most of the battles that I've been doing these days in my off-screen time has been pretty bad for my Poisoned Wind population. And I'm hopeful that we will, begin leveling those guys up as we go through these other battles here, and I'm just trying to be a little bit more cautious and try and sustain the population a little better as we go forward, because right now I have about 30-something of the Poisoned Wind Globadiers, and I do have a number of them coming up, we're leveling them up as we go, and hopefully they are going to, be back at about 50, maybe 60 as we, end the leveling process. And yeah, there we go. Oh, see, now this is exactly the reason why we need these guys, because they are just so incredibly good. Just look at that. Look at that. That is just insane. That is so insane. Really crazy. What's really, really cool also about the Globadiers is that they're actually using blunt damage in comparison, like piercing or cutting damage or something like that. Blunt damage is really, really great against basically anything, but obviously it excels versus heavily armored units, because heavily armored units are pretty much resistant to a lot of other things. Even though piercing does tend to go through armor quite a bit, blunt is just really great against those heavily armored targets, and that's exactly the reason why it's so good. Anyway, we have 7 enemies remaining. That was it. We literally just killed about 83 units in literally, what, 10 seconds? That's pretty crazy. And I know that there are other units that can do that in the game, but personally, I feel like the Globadiers really know what's up. Although, you know, you do have the Infernos, you know, you do have those Chaos Dwarf Infernos and everything, and yeah, those guys are obviously, you know, pretty good at, you know, themselves. They do have 5 shots in comparison to the 15 that every Globadier gets, so I suppose it really depends on, you know, what is it, volume versus damage, I guess, because obviously if you want to micromanage, then it might be a little easier to micromanage the Globadiers, because they have, you know, more shots, technically, but obviously if the Infernos are going to be shooting a little bit slower, then of course you can tell them to hold fire in between shots, and then you can maybe make it a little more efficient, because obviously the Globadiers are going to throw things very quickly. And there it is, very nice indeed. We took no casualties, and there was actually a vassal here, amazingly enough, but he was obviously very injured and was not able to, you know, mount a suitable defense. Anyway, I'm going to try and take as much SKAVEN as we can. And, oh yeah, 2 Warblock Engineers, give me that, thank you very much. And, wow, there's actually a lot of them. Who have they been fighting? Who have they been fighting to get so many of these? I have no idea, but it must be some of our vassals or something like that. Anyway, anything here? No, nothing here. Yes, usually the loot nowadays is not exactly great, so let's have a look here. Lord Skeezel, I think Lord Skeezel is going to be getting this. Oh yeah, by the way, I've seen Lord Aketi running around. He has 220 units in his army, so I'm really happy about that. Obviously, that 7 leadership is certainly paying off. And otherwise, we'll give this to Lord Skeezel. As you can see, not everyone is extremely happy about that, but I don't really care. You know, they're just going to have to suck it up, and we'll see what we can do about moving on to the next target. I'm actually going to go around to Middenheim here, because I think doing the whole other town and the you know, the towns nearby to that one, I think it probably is going to be a little bit more difficult, because they are kind of in the center of the territory. So anyway, oh wow, I am really surprised. Okay, so Britannia is not willing to have any kind of truce whatsoever, and I'm actually kind of surprised, because you would think that, considering Britannia has had not a particularly good time against the SKAVEN, that they would decide to make peace. I mean, you can see here they don't have that much of a territory, and I could sweep through that pretty quickly, because as far as I'm aware, Britannia does not have extremely good ranged units, so who knows? Maybe we'll have to teach the liege a little lesson as we go forward. But yes, for the moment, let us concentrate on Middenheim, which is just here, and let's see if it's a siege. Oh, hello. I really did not want to have anyone nearby here for potential interception, but I suppose we're just going to have to do it no matter what, and we'll see what happens. But for the most part, I really wanted this to be covert. Oh, there's only 122 in here. What? What is going on with the garrisons? I have no idea, but we have apparently taken Boris prisoner. Yes. There is revenge for his previous transgressions, attempting to raid our villages all the time. Thankfully, we were able to take him prisoner. I have no idea who beat him. It's probably Lord Aketi, let's face it. Everyone else seems pretty lazy. And otherwise, let's go in and see what we can do here. Ooh, this is cool. Okay. This is kind of unique. I don't think we've ever done a siege like this. Oh, this is bad. No, okay, never mind. I was actually thinking to myself, are all of these windows manned with gunners and archers and things like that? No, thankfully not. It doesn't seem like that at the very least, but yeah, I'm actually wondering how we are going to do here, because, oh, I see. I see, okay. We're going to have to tell everyone to hold position here while I get sorted out. Let's get out of first person, shall we? It's going to give me a little bit of extra vision of things. Okay, well, go ahead, Poison Wind Globadiers. Apparently they are just going to take matters into their own hands. I don't mind. That's absolutely fine with me, as long as they have line of sight. Who am I to tell them to stop? Yes, very good. Okay, so let's tell our infantry just to be at the front here. We'll just tell our Globadiers there. And, well, our Warplock Engineers are not really going to be able to do too much right now. Let's try and shoot a couple of these knights to try and get them out of the way for our inevitable charge in there. And obviously bear in mind, we do not want to charge into about 70 units. We would much prefer to try and reduce that population, and it seems like that is actually happening. Very nice. Maybe I can do a little bit of damage myself here and there. Yeah, maybe, yeah, there we go, Very nice. This weapon, really, it's just crazy. I feel like the hitbox is actually slightly larger than the actual model itself in the game, so in general I tend to hit much further than you would imagine, but yeah, there you go. I think, is that it? No, yes, almost. There's 14 enemies remaining. I don't know where they are, so we're gonna have to hunt them down through the streets of Middenheim. And there is a victory for us once more. It seems like this is a much better plan than just going straight brute force against Nuln. I think that is kind of a... I don't know. I feel like that town is just cursed for us for the moment because it is literally just preventing us from taking it every single time we get over there. So it's kind of a shame. But anyway, no loot, of course. And I think I should give this to Lord Aketi. He's doing such a good job that I really do not want to hold things from him. I think he's just doing way too good a job to, you know, keep things from him. Anyway, let's go over to the castle here, actually. I feel like this castle is probably going to fall pretty quickly. And I don't really mind if they decide to besiege this. Oh, Ugluk was actually held prisoner. I didn't know that. That is actually kind of bad. I should have realized that. I think he probably got taken prisoner in the previous episode and maybe we just didn't see it, but oh well, never mind. It's alright. Karak Norn is once again going to be besieged. Yeah, this guy has attempted to besiege this so many times. I've gone over there, I've either taken it back from him or I have chased him off, and he always comes back to this particular location. It is very frustrating to see this guy come back every time, but well, if he decides to do that, then he decides to do that. I suppose the liege of the Bretonnians is just like, yes, continue sieging that one fief. That sounds like a really good plan. Not really, personally, but oh well, never mind. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna get ready for this. I don't know how many units are here. I did not take a look at the garrison, but to me it appears as though they have many more than, well, the previous two combined. But maybe that's going to reduce relatively fast thanks to our Globadiers. They are just insane. And actually, you know what? I think, personally, any unit that is capable of like AoE damage in some way, I feel like if you get a suitable amount of those guys, and I'm talking about, I don't know, 20, 30 of those, then you're probably going to be pretty fine basically taking anything, with the exception of that one town. Let's not mention its name, it's just awful. But yeah, anyway, I think that's probably the case here. And have we already eliminated more than you know what let's just charge straight up here, because I think that we will probably be in a pretty decent position if we can get all of our infantry in here. Our Ashen Assassins are obviously going to move very, very quickly and getting up here, and I'm going to move around and see if I can maybe take out a couple of the gunners, because they're obviously going to be kind of difficult for us. And I don't want them continuing to do damage, that's for sure. So let's take out that guy. Maybe we can shoot someone from here. It seems like, yeah, this is kind of a similar layout to what we had previously, so I suppose it's alright. And, ow. Take out those two sharpshooters, thank you very much. And, yeah, we might have some issues. We did just get enemy reinforcements on us, so that's obviously a bit of an issue. Yes. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them over there. Alright, well, seems like this is probably a good idea to retreat and come back in. Well, it seems like this is the last stand for the Empire in this particular garrison. I basically just retreated, came back in, retreated, came back in every time I got a bit too low in HP, or anytime our Globadiers ran out of ammunition, because of course that just is the most efficient way of taking castles at this point. And I obviously, as I said before, want to try and sustain our various unit populations as much as possible, because if not, well, we're going to be in a pretty bad situation. Anyway, hopefully this will be one of the last castles I will have to take from the Empire. And oh yeah, while I was building the ladders to come in here one last time, well, you can kind of guess what happened. Karak Norn was taken by the Bretonnians, by that one guy that comes back every single time and taking it. Yes, very good. Anyway, point is, we are going to be heading there soon, and we'll probably take that back. I might take it back in my off-screen time. It really depends on how close we are. This is the reason, by the way, that this particular castle was so difficult to take. 3 vassals were in the garrison, so obviously that's going to make everything much, much more difficult, but thankfully we were able to prevail in the end. Well, this is a pretty interesting development. We have the Bretonnians. Yes, I was actually just about to go to Nuln. Yes, I said the name once again, because I scouted the other 2 towns that the Empire has in their control, and unfortunately, it appears as though they are even better defended than this one. And so, if their layouts are favorable, I have no idea about them. I have not besieged them, obviously, to test that out. But their garrisons are 400 plus, easily. At least one of them has about 480, and the other one has even more than that, about 600, 700, because of the amount of vassals in there. And so I decided, hey, you know what? Let's go and take back that castle from the Bretonnians and maybe do a little bit of, you know, capturing of some Bretonnian fiefs, and maybe we can get some kind of truce against the Empire. Maybe that would be a good idea. But these guys appeared out of nowhere and they decided to fight us, and so that's exactly what we're going to do. These are Bretonnians, of course, and there's about 300 of them, 350 or something like that. So yeah, obviously these guys are going to take a little bit priority on that, a little bit of priority, because we do need to make sure that these fellows are not running around our, you know, wonderful, wonderful lands and attempting to raid every single village that they can get their hands on. And so we are going to try and eliminate them. So far, everything seems to be going swimmingly, however, and they seem to, wow, I kind of feel a bit sorry for them, actually, because Bretonnia seems, well, not very strong. I don't really know what's going on with them, because I know that according to some people in the comments, Bretonnia is kind of cavalry heavy. They generally tend to have good cavalry, as far as I'm aware, and they don't tend to have much else. Like, yes, you know, they have some decent units here and there, and they're not obviously super bad or anything, but Bretonnia seems to be cavalry heavy for the most part, and it seems to me like their cavalry is still not even that good, but maybe it's just because we have such a, well, basically a ruffle stomp, you know, ruffle stomp army at the moment. I mean, literally, you know, we could basically go against anything with the exception of maybe, I don't even know, what army can defeat this army with a huge amount of globadiers and engineers and so on and so forth. I mean, not many. I mean, I think, actually, you know what? If it was an army that had a huge amount of cavalry, but you know, I'm talking about like a lot of cavalry, you know, and this cavalry was able to very quickly and decisively strike at us, I think they would probably end up dealing so much damage, or at the very least being able to evade most of our attacks, that we would run out of ammunition with our globadiers, which are the main reason why we are able to, you know, thin out enemy armies so easily. Then I think they could probably gain the upper hand from that, because from what I can tell, maybe, have we fought many High Elves? Yeah, we fought a couple of High Elves, and the High Elves don't seem to be too difficult. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but there you go. There's 20 renown for us as well. That's pretty nice. Otherwise, 353 against 175. Basically, this is just a formality now, I feel, because if those are the strongest units that they have to offer, then, well, you kind of know what the end result is going to be. But yeah, it seems like we're doing okay. We're doing okay, and it's obviously gotten a lot better now that we have kind of fixed the whole reputation thing. And, you know, thematically, obviously, that is a big deal. You know, having negative reputation, that's kind of, you know, a SKAVEN thing. But for me, the gameplay, you know, being affected so heavily from that and having so many different factions at war against us, I don't know. I'm not terribly a big fan of that. I do like the diplomacy, you know. I like being able to be a little bit diplomatic, and who knows, thematically maybe we used some kind of, you know, sorcerous magic on the enemy's ambassadors or whatever you want to call them, and we, you know, brainwashed them a little bit to suggest as though the SKAVEN are not as big a threat as they turn, maybe, appear to be, shall we say, to begin with. So if you want to go for the role-playing style, then yeah, that's kind of the thing that we could come up with to explain away the whole peacemaking thing, because maybe Nagrat is just a very powerful sorcerer, and he doesn't actually nag them to death, he actually casts very powerful spells instead, and as a result we were able to achieve some kind of peace, truce, whatever you want to call it. And I actually think what I'm going to try and do, actually, as I jump into that attack, that was great. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Nagrat off, and I'm going to try and see maybe whether we can get a non-aggression treaty with the SKAVEN themselves, and I'm going to attempt, I don't know whether this is going to work, but eventually I want to try and attempt some kind of alliance with the SKAVEN, and I think that could be really awesome to fight side by side alongside our brethren, basically. I think that could be really fun, but obviously it all depends on them. It all depends on them. If they decide not to do that, then obviously we're not going to be able to do that, but hopefully with our decent honor, we will be able to do it, and hopefully Nagrat will be successful in, doing a little bit of sorcering against the SKAVEN at some point in the future. But for the moment, I think that will be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.